Good afternoon.
Well,
Boa tarde a todos.
well,
Good afternoon, everyone.
well, great to have you here, Luis. Thank you for joining us here in Porto.
Thank you.
And we're delighted to be able to spend a little bit of time with you. First, on behalf of everybody here, let me wish you, I guess, a slightly belated birthday.
Yeah, it was my birthday, but I feel a little bit older, but okay. Healthy, but older is good.
Well,
Thank you so much.
He had his birthday just before the U.S. presidential election, so I don't know if that had any effect on it.
It was a big effect.
But today, as this group of executives meets here in beautiful Porto, you know, we live in a challenging world. We live in a difficult time, and we all have to make decisions that can affect our businesses, our investors, you know, and our families. And one of the things I wanted to start with is you're no stranger to difficult decisions. I think perhaps your move from FC Barcelona to Real Madrid was something that attracted a lot of attention, but at the same time, it was a decision that you made. How does one go about making, you know, these important decisions, even when you know they may not be popular with some people? What do you think the motivation that drives that is?
Well, I think life is made of decisions, and if you are in an important position, you have to take that decision depending of the reasons that decision is made. No, the great leaders of the countries, they have to think about economical situation of the country, about the people, about everything. In my case, when I was playing football, I had to think about sometimes be a little bit selfish and think about myself because I had examples from other football players before that had to make similar decisions, and I saw what happened. So for me, was that moment was very, very tough because I had everything in the hands, but I had the possibility to improve in all the ways. So, but everything starts a little bit about recognition, no? Because when you are in a company or when you are in a position that you are an employer and not like a leader, and you feel that they don't recognize your work, what you give to the company, so, and you have the possibility to change, so you always make that point, or you always think about that move, no? And that's what happened to me. So the balance is always very difficult. The decision is always very difficult, but for tell you the truth, that moment I was thinking about my future, my family future, my professional future, and not too much about my position in the club in that moment, because if the direction or president in that moment didn't say too much about myself, so I was, like I said to you before, a little bit selfish, but think about what was good for me, or what I thought that was good for me in that moment, no? And what take me to take that decision to move and to change. The change is always very risky when you have everything, but, well, life is beautiful too when you try to improve and you have had better offers in all sense and you try to get better conditions. So for me it was difficult, but in the end, resuming everything, I think was the right decision.
But after you make such a decision, and then there's a lot of noise around it, and that can be about that decision or other decisions that you might make that don't prove to be terribly popular with certain people, you know, what do you think the key is to keep your focus and keep doing what you need to do to be successful? Because we can all get very distracted, you know, by the noise we hear around about what we're doing and how we're making decisions. But at the same time, when you have a job to do and a mission to fulfill, you know, do you have any any guidance about how you keep focused? Or do you just close your eyes and work harder?
Well, I think what moves me in football and life is my passion for what I do. So it doesn't matter if I was playing football in the street when I started. Doesn't matter what I did in Barcelona. Doesn't matter what's going to happen in my future, because I love to play football. My passion was either when I was 36, finishing my career, I like to train. So I think that was the big focus on my career. Enjoy what I do. Doesn't matter what you earn or where you are, because when you play football, you're not thinking about how much money you get in one club or in another one. You just want to compete. You just want to be good, to perform. So my focus was that. Of course, the change was a little bit financially too. I don't want to be lie about that, but was more in terms of being independent, in my future, because it's not about football or club, or is like better conditions make you be independent and can decide whatever life brings you. So what made me focus is to enjoy football wherever I could be.
As you began to develop your business career and thinking about what you wanted to do, had you spent a lot of time thinking about it while you were playing, or is this something that you started to look at a little bit later and thinking, where did you want to put your business energy, your entrepreneurial spirit? How did you decide, because now you have a number of different business interests, but how did you begin that path about thinking, was that about passion? Was it about best investment opportunity?
Well, I never make big plans about what comes next, So I think you always, in myself, takes opportunities, how it comes, and decide. Happens in football, happens in my business investments. I think I was always at the curiosity to not always depending on football after retired, to be connected in football. So that's what makes me be curious about another areas of business and other interests, because I didn't want it to be just depending of finish my career and be a coach or be a sport director in football. But I didn't have too much time, tell you the truth, when I was playing football to focus on doing business. I think I wanted to prepare too, because when I started to be professional, I didn't finish my school, and I wanted to be prepared because I always saw that when you finish a career, it's not because you have a name that you're going to have a position. No? You have to be prepared. I think you have to have the knowledge to do what you think or what you like to do. So I didn't have the chance because I started to be professional very, very young, 17, and I had to finish my school studies. And I wanted to be prepared for when I retired. So when I retired, I tried to, and I had the luck that in Portugal, they started a new course for, they call it New Opportunities for older people, when they, I finished my education, and because I like business, and I try to do like some MBA to help me in my activity, So that was my idea, and about business, I think I didn't choose. I think I'm open to opportunities because I like to invest. And I like to produce, so the decision is made with my team and with my advisors.
When you look at all the lessons that you learned, as a player, as a leader, are there any of those particular ones that you learned through your sporting career that you think were most transferable to your business career?
Well, I think my life in football showed me what I have to do after football. So I think I born with the slogan in my small, it's one of the biggest clubs here in Portugal, that is effort, dedication, devotion, and glory. So I think this helped me to be settled in the floor and work hard. Of course, you need talent, but you need passion too for what you do. Because without passion, I think life doesn't make sense. And I always wanted to be the number one, either if I was not the talent of number one. But I think I was working so much, dedicated to my profession, to achieve my goals and the goals that I dreamed when I was young. So this I translate for everything I do out of football. I'm very persistent. I'm a person that is positive in terms of what I want to produce, and I go forward. I think without making any damage to no one, but focus on my goals and to try to make good for the society and for myself and for my family, of course.
Well, you mentioned, good for society, and whether we're put on a path to success or not in life, from our families, from our socioeconomic backgrounds, or the society we live in, it can also be about, at some point, getting a helping hand. And you've been very involved with Intercampus. You have your own foundation. You have your technology platform to help young people connect with possible talent scouts. How important it is for you, given everything that you've achieved, to give back and help other people. So what motivates you? Because that's obviously a commitment of time. It's a commitment of resources. It's a commitment that probably sometimes takes away from some of your family time. So what drives that passion also to be involved in so many initiatives to help young people and disadvantaged youth?
Well, I was young too, and I know the difficulties of to have opportunity. So I think I always wanted to give back to the community what football gives back to me. My slogan is, if I can help 50 is better than don't help no one. No, I know that I cannot change the world, but I think football makes so much difference and puts everyone together. So, and we are reference for so many children, and we can arrive in all parts of the world that we can imagine. So, of course, I focus more about social work in Portugal, because I don't have a big structure in my foundation, but I'm very pleased what I achieve and what we have done for the past 20 years. And we work in different areas like health, education, sports, and social integration. So we help a lot of institutions, and with that, I think makes me happy, makes everyone happy, and I invite everyone who wants to join us. Of course, it's a pleasure. It's not a worst time. It's always difficult to find and to get the funds to support the projects, but like I said to you before, I think it's always good when you at least support a lot of institutions.
Well, supporting institutions, helping people, find that path or get that next step up, is not only is it good for young people, but the other lesson I think that perhaps you might be able to share with us, is, we spoke briefly about it earlier over in the library, is what do you think teaches us more, our successes or our failures? What motivates us more? Well,
you don't know the success until you fail. I think success is what you dream when you start a project. Success is what everyone wants, but sometimes can't be real because life is not always made of beautiful days, no? So I think it's when you fail, when you have a bad game or you don't perform, or you had a bad day in office, or the leader make a bad decision, is going to help you for the future. Don't make the same one, or to learn how to treat people, how to improve the economy, or try to work for the economy, try to work for the people. So I think the football is the same. When you have a bad performance, when you have a bad moment, and you don't know what to do, I think you have to work harder. It's the only solution, because the talent is there. I always say, okay, I see a football player. It's a bad example for me, no? I see a fantastic football player don't have a good moment. There's only a few options that make him is having a bad moment, or is physically not good, or is passing for a difficult time out of football without confidence, because the talent is there. So we have to support that talent and make them pass that difficult time. And I think in nowadays is the same. We don't have all days positive. We're not creative all days. But if you want to be the best in your profession and to help people to do what you should do, for sure the world will be better.
Well, I think sometimes in the new world of social media, that's also something that is created for us, that the idea that some people, whether they be athletes or entertainers or entrepreneurs, live perfect lives and never have bad days. And I think to your point, that's not the reality. And you're not living in the real world if that's the way that you think it is. Of course, you're still close to football as an advisor, I guess, with UEFA. Obviously, the business continues to change with new technology. Business continues to evolve in new ways. We've been talking today a lot about artificial intelligence and what it means for the future and different things such as that. Looking at football, not alone, but as kind of a benchmark, how do you think technology and media, and of course the money, is changing the game, but it's also changing the relationship the game has with sponsors, with civil society, the way it's perceived? I mean, it's an ongoing evolution.
Well, I think football changed a lot in last years. I was in both moments without so much technology, without social media, and now we have everything of that. I think change everything, marketing, in terms of strategy of the companies. So I live both in different ways. In my time was no social media, but was advertising, and I had the chance to work with the biggest companies in the world in terms of advertising. And of course now change in terms of technology. I think we have to adapt. Football have to adapt how technology is improving. And take the benefits of that. I think for football is always good when you have fair decisions, when they help you to be better players, to have better performance in terms of training and all that surround that things in football. But I like the natural things of football too. Don't make it too much changes, you understand? Because if not, you change too much the game. For me, I think the most important in the future is to maintain the attractive of football for the youngest generations, because in these days you have so much competition in terms of other sports, other platforms. My daughters and I think all the kids, they have YouTube, you have all the platforms, entertainment. So to keep that interest in football, because in these days you have so many games, you have so many competitions. That is the key, I think, is the challenge that we have. But of course, we have to adapt in terms of the new technologies and take advantage of that for the sport. Regarding the financial, I think is one of the biggest industries in the world, and there's a lot of interests. It's always going to be like that, because more games, which means more funds for the clubs. More funds for the clubs will mean more salaries for the players. So it's all connected.
Well, I think one of the things that also, when you talk about keeping the game accessible and keeping young people motivated to participate, I think we've seen, certainly in the last few years in Europe, as well as in the United States, a real growth in the women's game. And it seems to me that that is also important to broadening that appeal, to making it a sport for everybody, not just for the little guys on the playground and their dreams to be you or another great star, but to broaden that out for the team sport, for everything. How important do you see that as that institutional support and now increasingly popular support for growing the women's game?
Well, I think I work in UEFA, and I think it's been done a big work in terms of investment and development of women's football. So we are very, very happy with the answer, because in the last years we tried to invest a lot in the game and in the competitions and in the women's football, and you can see that the increasement of the audience, increase of the TV rights, the increase of the interest in Europe, I think is result of that investment, not only because of we investing, but because of the clubs that are investing, the leagues are investing. And I think, of course, it's good to see when you have a European or a World Cup that the stadiums are full. And I think it's normal, because when you invest and there's so much potential in a sport like a women's football, in the hand you got the results.
Well, I think certainly one of the reasons women's football has really grown in popularity in the U.S. is because our women's Olympic teams have had multiple successes as gold medals, and as you well know, slightly better than our men's team. So that popularity has grown, but it's interesting to see because it's bringing in different corporate sponsors as well, at least in the U.S. game. So it's, I suppose, like any business, it continues to evolve. But I would like to turn to another subject that we touched on briefly when we talked. You know, you spent so many years in a team sport with lots of people around, from not only your teammates but the coaches, the trainers, the whole staff that goes along with high-level football. And then you but let's say also add to your repertoire in life a passion to play a very solitary sport, such as golf. So, what does that entail to move from dedication, discipline, commitment in a team sport to fighting with yourself in a very singular sport?
Well, it's more difficult to play golf than play football, because it's putting me out of my comfortable zone, So when it's like that, it's much more difficult. But I think I'm not only play golf alone. Now I'm training alone, because when I go to gym, I train alone. You understand? So it's totally different, and it's more. It's not so fun, but okay. I think I found a hobby that I love, because I think it's very competitive, and when you are competitive, I think you're going to be competitive all your life. So I enjoy it, and I think I see other parts because you can do business in golf course. You see Trump, you do a lot of business. So I think it's a good moment to don't think about the problems and just focus and relax.
Yeah, it's probably harder to talk about business when you're in the middle of the penalty box with 20 other guys fighting for the ball. But one of the things I think that I've heard from many of my friends that do golf, and I have tried to golf and I do it very badly, but it's fun, is do you think there's an element about golf that is useful because it keeps you humble, keeps you centered?
Oh yeah, golf. The values of golf are a little bit, I think, different than football. I think you cannot cheat too much in golf.
Well, you mentioned somebody that does business in golf, and he has a reputation for that.
But I tell you, I have friends that go with 2 balls and then they throw it with a hand like this.
But I do think that that is also very applicable, not only in sports, but also when you're thinking about making decisions and doing business. You have to do the things which are fully based on the success of the team, and then doing things which challenge you yourself and make these decisions. When you though think about as you move forward in business, we're in a time of rapid change and new technology and political uncertainty. If you were to just say, in a nutshell, what do you want to do in the next 5 years? What do you want to accomplish? Not only as a business person, but as an individual.
Wow, this is a very deep question. Well, I think I wanted to be happy every day. But happiness will happen about what my decisions will too. So I will want to have like the health and the energy to continue to produce, because I'm an active person, so for sure I will do business, but I wanted to be sure that I leave a legacy in out of the pitch, like I did in the pitch during my career and my history in football. So of course I will dedicate time for friends, family, traveling, but in terms of producing, I wanted to be successful what I do in the areas that I invest. And of course I wanted to see, and I hope that all what is happening around in the world, that we have some peace, and I wanted to see too that the big leaders in the world in terms of political, I like political, they care more about, in each country they care more about the people, in terms of, for me a leader is a person that have charisma, and to take the decisions not in 4 years or 8 years they are in the mandate, but to really think about what is the problems in our society, what is the problems in each days of the countries that are you from. For me, for example, in Portugal, what really cares about your country? Because I think with that will for sure help the people that is working every day, the infrastructures, the economy, and make the right decision. It doesn't matter if you are from right or left party, but that you feel that you care about what you're doing. You understand? And this is just not a moment in the life of a person that have the power to change the way of the country. This is what I really wanted to see too in the next years, because I think it's very important, not only for each country, but in general for, in this case, the continent that we live.
I won't take that as an announcement that you're running for president.
No, but
Not yet.
if I have to, I do it.
Well, indeed. But I think you raise, Luis, a very, yeah, so I think, yeah, you already have your first fan club ready. So, but I do think that you're absolutely right that leadership needs to meet the moment, whether you're in business with these executives here, in civil society, leadership needs to meet the moment and the need. But looking at your career in sport, and in business, one of the issues that we talk about a lot in business enterprises is the two different uses of the word leader. Are you talking about somebody who has charisma, who leads, who inspires, who shows the way to do things, or somebody who just has power?
No, leader for me is a leader. For me, you born a little bit leader because of your personality and your character. No, power is another thing. Yeah. Power, you can use it negative and positive. I think a leader, you're born with that charisma and personality, but in the same time, you have to be an example for your team, for your country. And the people should recognize you like a leader by what you do, not if you are blue eyes or brown eyes, or if you're right or left, I think, is my opinion, no? Because in football it's the same. If they said, you are a leader, yeah, but I never wanted to be a leader. I'm a leader because what I do in the pitch, what I do in the dressing room, what is my values, what I want to win every day, I want to be better. So that is the way that make me probably a leader, because my teammates see me, okay, this guy is like this guy goes this way. So I want to follow him in this direction or not. This is a real leader. And you don't need to do nothing like special. You just have to do a good example and try to do the things well.
I couldn't agree with you more, because as we discuss in business, in politics, a lot about leadership, very often the leader is committed to a mission, to accomplishing something, not just keeping a certain job forever. You want to win the game, you want to grow the business, you want to do something, but at a certain time, you move on and do the next mission. And I think, to your point, that's what leaders do, and not just try to order people around and do so. But that's always a careful balance in business.
Well, balance, I think, is the most difficult thing in life. I think, is my opinion, because to achieve that balance sometimes is very difficult.
Well, I think that is indeed the challenge, and we do that, balancing the work-life balance, balancing, as you mentioned, the types of leadership or control as a business leader you have to have, as well as whether it's in the locker room or on the pitch, about how much you can influence or want to influence. But before we wind up, I wanted to ask you a couple questions that are maybe a little more general, but just in case you are the Prime Minister or the President, I want to be the first to have asked you about these things. What makes you optimistic? What are reasons that everyone in this room has to be optimistic? Not just to be here in Porto, but to be in Portugal, to be here in Europe. What makes us, or gives us reason to be optimistic?
About?
The future.
Well, I think you saw what happened in Valencia a few days ago. You saw the mobilization of the people when some catastrophe happens. You saw how the people get together when it's difficult moments, and when you see people suffering, losing everything. So that is the example of what we can do together. If we wanted to go alone by yourself, it's much more difficult. It's like a team. If you put your strengths together in the same direction, the problem is that not every time is like that. So we have to be positive. We have to respect ourselves, but and fight in the same direction. I think if you started from that, it's much more difficult. It's much more easy, to be positive and to have a better world.
a final thought. Do you think there is a role for sports people to have a bigger, not perhaps political voice, but a bigger social voice?
Well, sports have the power to change the world. So, this Mr. Mandela was a slogan and said. So, I don't know. Depends of the interest of each personality of each person of sport. But we have some examples of sports persons that get into the politicians, no? Well, I don't know how to answer you, but I think it's common sense. Life is a bit of common sense too. And I think if it's happened that, it's much more easy to do the things right. Of course, it's very easy to talk, and it's a lot of problems and decisions that should be made, no? That probably the civilians, we don't know about the politicians in the countries, but I think a sports guy could be a good leader, political leader.
These signals that I keep getting up here, you know, I
don't want to take the job of Mr. First Prime Minister. I don't want to take the job. I'm just my opinions.
Well, you know, it's always good to have a strong bench, they say. So, and people
like
ready,
bench, a good bench. Yeah.
But people ready to step up and do what needs to be done. You know, and I think that is absolutely critical. But in a final word, Luis, when you think about what you're doing in business, when you look out at a room full of business executives, simple question: can business be a power for good, or are we just business folks?
For sure. I just talk about my life experience. I think I have a lot to learn, and I have my mind open to learn. That is the most important. And of course, business is very important for the society and for the world. So I hope continues to have very good business, very good entrepreneurs, and very big companies that helps the countries to develop.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've enjoyed this discussion with Luis Figo, because it is refreshing to sit down with somebody who not only will share with us about their accomplishments and what they've done, but also be very clear that there's a call to action for all of us to do what is right, to do what we can to support our companies, our societies, our employees, our communities. So I think that's a great message to take away. And thank you very much, Luis, for being with us today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.